What's up guys, and welcome back to the channel. And in today's video we are going to be discussing the UFC Qatar, or as Lucas Tracy pronounces it, Qatar, the UFC Qatar card that is taking place November 22nd in Qatar. I don't know how you actually say it, but it's definitely not pronounced Qatar. But regardless, the main event, Arman tsarukyan versus Dan Hooker. The co-main event, we expected the main event. We all kind of knew that was coming. The co-main event hadn't even been rumored. Just rumors. There was no rumors. There was nothing. It just popped up. You get fights like that. It's kind of fun. Because a lot of Dana's announcements, it's like JDM Islam, Shevchenko, Whaley, Prates Leon, fun, amazing fights. We kind of knew about them already. It's like when he drops that massive fucking Volk Lopez, Ilya's moving up, Shavkat JDM, Belal JDM, all this. I knew about most of that myself, but most fans didn't. There wasn't a lot of existing chatter going around or rumors and stuff. But this main event had a bunch of rumors. A lot of other fights have already been rumored for this card. But the co-main event was just out of the blue. Just Ian, Garry, Belal, Muhammad. Cool. Let me know if anyone had saw anything about this. Maybe you thought that would be the fight that they would go with. But I thought they would do a Belal Usman fight. We'll talk about that in a sec. But yeah, the card is fucking generational, bro. This card is stacked. There's 11 confirmed. 11 confirmed, and then one other fight on this card. Between Tagir Ulanbekov and Kyoji Horiguchi that is in the works / rumored, just rumors. So we'll see if that comes through. But 12 fights, if we include the Tagir fight, which I will be talking about in this video. I don't think they'll finalize it there. You imagine they bump it to 14 and then just to bank on maybe 1 or 2 fights falling off. So probably a couple more prelims to go, but you would imagine the bulk of the main card would have to be done, unless they're adding a Sharam Magomedov to it or something like that. But regardless, let's talk about every one of these matchups, give my early prediction and breakdown. You guys let me know in the comments which fights here are you most looking forward to. What are your predictions for the fights as well? I'm not really going to be talking about what this means for the divisions too much, because knowing how much I yap, this is already going to be a 35-minute video as it is. So yeah, anyway, let's start. So, main event, Arman tsarukyan versus Daniel Hooker. I don't think his name's actually Daniel. It would have to be, though. But, anyway, let's start calling him Daniel from now on. Someone at the press conference, when this fight happens, call him Daniel, just for the sake of it. But regardless, I'm going to be picking Arman tsarukyan. I think everyone's picking Arman. There'll be a couple stragglers, a couple, just for the fun of it. I don't know, man. I just got the vibe Dan's going to catch him with a knee, dude. We'll get some of the casuals that come and be like, Hooker by KO, bro. Even though Hooker hasn't KO'd anyone since fucking Claudio Puellas. But regardless, Dan always has a chance to catch him, but it's not like Dan is fucking I don't even know. He's not got some one-punch power. So if your reliance on a Dan Hooker KO comes from a knee up the middle, on Arman tsarukyan, who hasn't been KO'd by a knee up the middle. I know he's shorter, okay? So, the only reason for picking Dan Hooker is Arman's shorter and he might get kneed up the middle if he just shoots a fucking open telegraphed takedown. I'm just not going to predict that to happen. We haven't seen Dan Hooker KO anyone with a knee since probably fucking Jim Miller. But I'm picking Arman. I think he's going to run over him in the grappling. Even in the striking, I think he's better. I genuinely believe that if these two strike, Arman wins. I wasn't impressed by Dan Hooker against Gamrot. I was impressed more by his grappling than his striking. And I don't think... So that's my point of just I don't think he put himself that far ahead of Mateusz Gamrot in the striking exchanges, yet he was beaten up at moments on the ground. Arman tsarukyan is just a superior offensive ground artist, and maybe not superior pure wrestling, but once he's on top, it is undeniable that Arman tsarukyan has had more success just beating dudes up and putting damage on them and winning fights as a result of having guys down. He did it to Joel Alvarez, my boy. Beat him up, finished him on the ground, basically just whooped him up, cut him open badly. Beat up Oliveira in round 2 on the ground, had me worried we were maybe going to get a stoppage there or some shit at one point. So I just think Arman is just a better all-round fighter than Gamrot, and Gamrot gave Dan Hooker a fucking war. And yeah, Dan Hooker be breaking his arm and shit in every fight, and people are going to be like, oh, so, but he'll be at 100%. Well, no, he won't. Like, he's just never at 100%. So either he pulls out, and he crowns himself the ultimate pull-out champion, or he takes the fight probably at like 50% and just loses. He's taking this fight because it's a number one, basically, contender fight for him. Like, maybe not he gets a title shot next, but like, the upside is just so much bigger than the downside. No one views Dan Hooker as some title challenger, but if he wins, he's ranked number one. And everyone thinks he would get killed by Ilia Topuria, which he would, but like, it's a fun fight. So I do like this main event. I do think it'll be fun. I actually do think Arman is capable of having a scrap. Like, I do think Arman is capable. I don't think this is going to be just Arman shying away from combat at all costs, like we see with some people in the sport, you know, from certain regions and elsewhere, Sean Strickland included. But you know, you see a lot of people shy away from combat. I don't think Arman's one of them. Like, is Arman going to turn into Yuri and just fucking channel the spirits of the samurais? Like, no. But I do think he will scrap enough with Dan Hooker. And I think he's just he's a cleaner striker. If he chooses to just strike at range, I genuinely think he can just outpoint Dan Hooker for 5 rounds. He looked good in the stand-up against Charles. And his striking has looked good, and I'm going to believe it's been looking better. He did have a good training camp for Islam. Despite the fight not going through, he's dealt with a bit of stuff. But like, I don't think he's just been it's not like he's just been crippled for like a year and hasn't been able to fight. Like, I'm gonna back him. I'm gonna back him to just like know what he's doing and just go in there healthy and beat up Dan Hooker. So yeah, the pick is Arman, pretty comfortably, TKO on the ground. It maybe even catches him on the feet, because he does have pop. The fact that he KO'd Benny, I know Benny, like, people thought were washed, but, like, the fact he KO'd Benny, to me, is, like, he's clearly got pop, and he's clearly got decent hands, and I do think his grappling is just way better. So, yeah, Arman by mid-rounds TKO is the prediction. Anyway, let's move on. Next up, the co-main event, Ian Machado Garry versus Belal, remember the Plains Muhammad. I'm going to be picking Ian Garry. This is literal Stalin versus Hitler level matchup right now. Except, who's a worse person I can use? Because like, he's not that bad of a guy. You know, he's had some good ideas. You know, it's right ideas, wrong execution. You know, could have done it better. But I'm sorry. Alright, whatever. 1 a.m. recording, it is what it is. But I'm picking Ian Garry. I think Belal's kind of fucking mid. I think this is going to be another case of, like, how is this dude champ? And then also, I think this is going to follow a week after, I believe, Islam Makhachev is going to beat Jack Della Maddalena. And then going into this fight, everyone's going to, after seeing that, everyone's going to then pick Ian Garry, because they're going to be like, yeah, Gary's going to light this dude up on the feet because JDM lit this dude up on the feet, and it's really fucking easy to light Belal up on the feet if you're not Leon Edwards and back up like an idiot. So I'm picking Ian Garry. I don't like him, but like, dude, the win over Pratas is impressive. Beating CP, defeating CP. I won't say he conquered him. You know, he outpointed him at range for 3 of the 5 rounds. Was on his knees in the 5th, but it is what it is. But, like, that's impressive to be able to stay out of danger that much. So I think he's going to light up Belal on the feet. And we saw his takedown defense against Shavkat was, like, actually not bad. Now, is he kind of susceptible to being a bit weak on bottom? Yes. So that is the concern. This is pure striker grappler. But I think Ian Garry's grappling is better than Belal's striking. And I also think Ian Garry's going to do more damage with the range and make it harder for Belal to get inside and get to his takedowns. Belal's getting older, took a bunch of damage against JDM as well. Not like a quick turnaround, but also just like, am I supposed to think you're going to look better? Like, I'm just not. Is Belal realistically getting back to a title? Fuck no. Like, no chance. So give me Ian Garry to win this fight by a decision. I don't know if it's 3 or 5 rounds. I hope it should be 5 because it's number 1. If the number 1 ranked fighter is fighting in their division, and it's not a women's fight, if it's a men's fight, it should, and it's a number 1 contender, or the number 1 ranked fighter, it should be a 5 rounder. no matter what. No matter where on the card. Feature fight over pay-per-view. I don't care. 5 rounds. Anyway, let's move on. Next up, Bogdan Gushkov, Jan Blachowicz. This has been around for a minute again. I think it's official now. I'm not sure, but it's basically done. We know it. The only one that's real... everything here is done / like, I'm very confident. Tagiros Kyoji is not at the point where I'm like, yeah, you can bank that in for this card, but it's in the works. But... Bogdan Gushkov, Jan Blachowicz. Now, I mean, after watching Carlos Ulberg just kill Dominic Reyes when he failed to do really anything of note against Blachowicz, there is something that tells me, dude, just be logical, pick Jan. But also, we all love Bogdan Gushkov, and I'm just going to pick Bogdan, because, like, sometimes you just got to back your guys. Like, does anyone really think, ask Bedtime MMA in his Heart of Hearts, did he really think Dominic Reyes was going to win? Or was he just kind of, like, obligated into backing the comeback and just picking Reyes to win? Like, sometimes you just get those fights where, like, deep down, you kind of think you should pick the other guy, but you're like, fuck it. I'm picking my boy. I'm backing my guy. And I'm backing Bogdan Gushkov, who's been my boy since the start. I picked this man to beat Nikita Krylov as an underdog. I picked him to beat Ryan Spann, I should say, as an underdog. And again, I'm not saying any of these are, like, phenomenal wins, because yes, there is a difference between their opponents and how they're aging. Bogdan Gushkov killing Krylov, who also got killed by Reyes, who also got killed by Ulberg, compared to Ulberg, who's just had a competitive kickboxing match with Blachowicz and almost lost. So, logic and, like, kind of MMA 1-2 skip a few type maths, if you want to call it that, says pick Jan, but also he's older. At what point is he just not going to be able to do it? And also, Ulberg fought very cautiously in that fight. Jan stayed defensively sound. I don't think Jan is countering Bogdan with something crazy here. It's 3 rounds as well, which favours Gushkov as well. I think he can kind of go a bit crazy to just guaranteed win the first round if he goes nuts, and then just kind of do enough to scrape out the second on damage. He's just wild. He's unpredictable. And I'm just going to say that against kind of any real logic that you can base off how these two have looked in their past fights and who they've actually fought, given that I know Gushkov got killed by Ozdemir, or beat up pretty bad in his debut by him. But I'm backed into a corner here. Bogdan's my boy, and I'm gonna back him to win until he doesn't. So yeah, give me Gushkov for the win via TKO. And it's finally gonna be the end of Jan, because dude is like in his 40s. I know he's been looking good, and sometimes dudes just don't age, but like, at a point, surely the 42-year-old man isn't going to win. Anyway, let's move on. Next up, Sergey is a great... I'd love to fight him. Versus Shamil Gaziev, the Blob. Everyone's going to want to pick Gaziev, and people are probably going to do it. Lucas and Bedtime will probably pick Gaziev. I'm going to pick Spivak. Do I pick... I think I just have to pick Spivak, dude. Like, Gaziev, we meme him, but like... Dude, he hasn't looked really good at all. Like, he beat Badai. I will say, the TKO win over Badai is impressive. And he did kind of flatline Thomas Peterson. I have questions over whether that was just Peterson fucking couldn't be bothered. And just died, because he threw his mouth guard out when he hit the ground. But he's got pop, so he might be able to catch Spivak. But surely Spivak wins this. Like, it's going to be a thing where, like, if you're being I know I've just been illogical by picking Gushkov, but, like, all logic says you should pick Spivak, so therefore I want to pick Gaziev, because it's sometimes you get those fights where you're like, logic is this, vibes it. I don't know, I'll see, because Spivak does have a tendency to shit the bed sometimes if people apply pressure to him, but, like, that's like Garn and, like, Aspinall, who were, like, running through him on the feet. I thought he beat Waldo. Now, the Waldo win, you can't say it's aged, like, badly. It's not like Waldo just got killed by Pavlovich, but he just got kind of outstruck, just out-firepowered. But yeah, I'm going to pick Spivak, probably. I know I'm betraying the Blobco Incorporated. I know Lucas will be very upset. And there'll be people picking Gaziev just for the memes. And I'm looking forward to the fight, because it'll just be funny. But right now, I'll go with Spivak until other considerations are made. Anyway, let's move on. Next up, Miktabek Orlbay versus Jack Hermansson. I talked about this the other day. I'm going to pick Orlbay, not overly confidently though, and the thing that makes me less confident is if you look at Jack Hermansson's record, he has traded wins and losses without fail perfectly. I'm not like saying, oh, win, loss, win, win, loss, loss, win, win. No, literally win, loss, win, loss, win, loss for his last 10 fights. And he's coming off a loss, and the worst loss of that 10. Or of those 5, I should say. So that leads me to be like, does he just get a crafty Hermansson, pulls it out with the size advantage? But I'm just going to pick a roll by. I can't trust a man cutting down a weight class who's going to be at the disadvantage of double lighter man skill, oral by coming up from lightweight. Considerable speed advantage, you'd imagine. I'm going to pick oral by. Anyway, let's move on. Next up, Alex Perez, Asuel Mabayev. Just a rock-solid, good flyweight fight here. Like, in another life, this is a fucking Apex main event. Like, I'm honestly shocked that with how deep this card is, they didn't get some of these on the Apex cards. Like, they could have very easily main evented that Brown Bonfim card. And also, the card's sick. This card's not taking much of a hit. If you just get Perez Almabayev, put it 2 weeks earlier in the same month, literally 2 weeks earlier, and just do Perez Asu as the Apex main event. Because, I will say, Almabayev Perez as a main event sounds a lot, with a co-main of Bonfim versus Brown, sounds a lot better than Randy Brown versus Bonfim with a co-main event of like some fucking WMA fight. I'm going to pick Almabayev just because I can't really trust Perez coming off this long of a layoff with a cooked fucking like knee or whatever, like Tyra did his knee. Now, maybe he wins. Like, I could consider a little crafty Perez pick here, because he's striking solid. But he lost, and he did stuff a decent amount of Makayev's takedowns, I will say that. So this fight should be pretty close in odds, because I haven't been that impressed by Asul Mabayev. But, also, okay, this card's not terrible, actually. This November 8th card, but, like, tell me you guys wouldn't be mad about them just with how deep this Qatar card is. I've still got more to read off after this fight. To show you how good this card is. But, like, this card, just take Almabayev Perez and then dump that on the Apex card 2 weeks prior, and then you got an Apex card, main card, you got main event, Almabayev Perez, co-main, Bonfim Brown. Reorder this shit a little bit, because they've got Pennington Gomez as the co-main event right now. But, like, Simone Barcelos feature fight, Yanez on the main card against Christian Quinones, Marco Tulio versus CLD, Austin Bashi, Jamal Emmers, and then for some reason you've got 3 women's MMA fights on the card, which is awful, and 2 of them are women's bantamweight. But like a main card of Almabayev Perez, Brown Bonfim, Barcelos Simone, Yanez Quinones, Tulio Duncan, and Bashi Emmers 6-fight main card. That is solid. Like that doesn't look fucking dismal. Whereas a Tisha Pennington, Denise Gomes co-main is the definition of dismal. But the difference between this card and this Apex Fight Night and then the one before is that one at least has Onama Garcia and Daliha Wilder. So you got 2 ranked men's fights, even if neither of them are particularly thrilling. But yeah, anyway, that's side point. But the fight is solid. Kraft could be like a crafty Perez spot here, defending the takedowns, but the Ochoa win is solid, and Almabayev is just that style of guy who's just going to avoid combat, and he's just going to grapple, and he's smart, and he will hold, and he'll just rack up, and he'll probably just get a close decision. So I'll pick Almabayev. Anyway, let's move on. Next up, Tagir Ulanbekov, Kyoji Horiguchi. This is rebooked from the Baku card. I've just tried to combine Baku and Qatar. Abubakar, you could say. That was terrible. But Tagir Ulanbekov, Kyoji Horiguchi, this again, I've mentioned it 12 times now, is not official. It is in the works. None of you have probably seen this anywhere, but I'd be like on the most random parts of Twitter that just catch the goofiest rumors, and then I just ask my sources about them, and they confirm or deny, or no comment, which usually means confirm. But yeah, I'd assume this fight's gonna happen. It's not like some crazy out of the blue fight. It's Costa vs Shara Magomedov is still listed on Sherdog. That fight's not happening. I'd be surprised if that's happening at this point. Like, that would, even if, like, maybe Shara stays on the card, but, like, I think he's injured. So I'd just be, unless they give him some bum, just to be like, yeah, get a free win. But, like, yeah, they ain't giving this dude a high-profile fight on this card. I think he's still banged up a little bit. But, good fight. I'm picking Kyoji, dude. Tagir didn't look that good. If this fight happens, I'm picking Kyoji. Tagir did not look that good against Azat Maxim, who is in like an unranked flyweight. Like, maybe levels up, but like, you're close competitive with Tim Elliott. I'm learning to just trust DJ's Unk title defenses. I know Kyoji's not like an Unk, like he's not that old, but like, dude, DJ's title defense is like low-key not bad. Like, I know Lucas just pushes the agenda of like any of the current GOATs of their divisions, or like the GOATs from like the 2010s, the 2005 till like 2020-ish era, like any from that that broad range, I should say. Like, he specifies like Anderson and like GSP and Jones, and those guys do have kind of mid-wins because a lot of the fighters back then were kind of dog shit. Flyweight is a relatively new division. Not like, I say relatively because like it wasn't back in the UFC 32 days of some shit. Like they didn't have flyweight for a hot minute. And so they kind of skipped the bum phase of just like, yeah, absolute cans holding the belts or like fighting for belts. Like, you could point to some of them being questionable, but like, people point to DJ's like most questionable title defenses, like, oh, Tim Elliott off tough, and it's like, well, Tim Elliott is almost top 10 and still winning fights at like 40 years old. So I'm picking Kyoji, dude. Like, he lost to DJ. It's not like he got fucking murdered. Like, he didn't get Holloway catered. He lost. He got subbed, I'm pretty sure. But I'm gonna trust DJ title defenses. And it's going to make Pantoja's job as surpassing him really difficult if his defenses keep aging really well. If Kyoji comes back to the UFC and beats like a one-loss Dagestani guy, it's going to be like, damn, DJ's resume low-key aging well. Like, we might have to move up. If Pantoja beats Van, we might have to move up both of them on the GOAT list. You know, Lucas might have to put DJ back into the top 10 because he currently has fucking Arman's. He has Peter Yan above DJ all time. Someone needs to fucking pinch Lucas. Like, just walk past him on the street. Just give him a little slap. Nothing hard. Don't punch him. Just like a little tap on the nose. Be like, bad boy, fix yourself. Like, what are you doing, bro? Like, Lucas, get DJ back in your top 10. Side rant. But yeah, I'm picking Kyoji to beat Tagir. Fuck Tagir Ulanbekov on Crip. Anyway, let's move on. Next up, Begzat Elmakan. Beksat, I should say, versus Alexandre Topuria. I'm picking Beksat, dude, and I hope he's like plus 200, bro. Topuria's mid. I'm calling it now. Alexandre Topuria is fucking mid, dude. This guy ain't all that. This guy's not top 15 caliber. Or he is, and Beksat's like top 7 caliber. Like, Beksat might just be the Arman Tsarukyan to Umar's Islam Makhachev. Like, that might be the case that we find ourselves in. Like, different style-wise, I know, shut up. Fucking don't come at me with that. But similar concept of short notice debut, gave him a little bit more trouble than you imagined. Like, in comparison, like, Arman took him to a decision with his backside, dropped him, you know, other than that, kind of got size handled. And that is the issue, because Topuria does grapple. He does. But his striking looks mid as fuck, bro. And in comparison, like, dude, Colby Thickness is not good at striking. Unless I get news that Colby Thickness was fucking physically crippled in that fight and had 2 torn ACLs and couldn't strike, there is no excuse for looking that bad on the feet against Josias Musasa, who also isn't that good himself. And so then, by that nature, if you are not KOing Colby Thickness on the feet, I don't think your striking is very good. Like, Beksat Elmakan would fucking light up Colby Thickness on the feet and finish him. I believe that. So, again, this is like, he could get taken down because Alexandre Topuria does look like a big dude. And Beksat, he's not small, but he looked small against Umar. But I'm big Beksat, bro. Like, give me Beksat Elmakan. And we're not going to just see Topuria's brother be as good as him. I don't believe he is. And it's going to be a thing of like the casuals being like, bro, it's Topuria, bro. He's the Bantamweight champion, bro. He's literally Ilya, bro. And he's like, he's not. Like, I'm pretty sure after he beat Colby Thickness, I genuinely think I saw someone from Kenny Okoye saying, it's time to have the conversation. Alexandre is the more well-rounded brother because he fucking suplexed Colby Thickness. Like Ilya didn't hit a fucking lat drop on Yusuf Salah. Like, some people don't deserve opinions. We need to sew some people's mouths shut, bro. Like, well, you know the type. Some of them. But fucking anyway. We'll see what happens. He might take him down and shit. But yeah, do not be letting casuals tell you that this dude is like some fucking future champion. He ain't winning a belt. Anyway, let's move on. Next up, Felipe Lima, Daniel Marcos. Bro, this card just keeps going. It's like an onion. It's got layers. Like, this card's so good, bro. Like, I don't know, these prelims are dope. Like, the prelims of this card, I would have, like, no problem with, like, being an Apex main card. Or, like, even, like, a regular Fight Night main card with a good... Like, if you put any of the main card fights with just the prelims of this card, I'm like, that's a Fight Night main card. Like, you're telling me I'm getting, like, let's say, Guskov, Blachowicz main event, you know, Oral by Hermanson, maybe co-main, you know, Beck Savas, Alexandre Topuria feature fight, Felipe Lima, Daniel Marcos. Like, dude, this is a sick fight. Daniel Marcos both these guys got one loss in the UFC, both coming off that loss as well. Both were, I don't think Lima was undefeated. No, I think Lima had one loss. But regardless, Marcos coming off that loss to Montel Jackson in a pretty lackluster fight. Before that, kind of a lot of questionable-ish decisions. Like, I kind of thought Davey Grant beat him. And, like, he hasn't looked particularly, like, impressive against, like, anyone. Like, he was beating up on that Chinese guy before the nut shot. I forget his name. And he's looked decent. I think, like, John Castaneda, he beat him, but, like, still got rocked a bit in that fight. I'm going to pick Lima. I'm going to trust that Lima is as good as I thought he was before the Talbot fight, and just that he fought really dumb. And I'm going to say that fight IQ, when I've only seen it as a problem once, can be fixed. He looked solid against Miles Johns. He looked great, subbed Muhammad Naimov, which is a good win. Muhammad Naimov beat Nathaniel Wood. Cheating or not, upper weight class Felipe Lima subbed the dude that beat Nathaniel Wood, who's like a borderline top 15 guy. Schooled Morgan Charrier. So, like, there's a lot of kind of he beat this guy, who beat this guy, who beat this guy type of vibes. But I'm going to pick Lima. I'm going to back him. He's well-rounded. He's got grappling. I think he can mix it up. And his striking's not awful. Like, I know Talbot had his way a little bit. Talbot even, like, took him down. Marcos ain't taking him down. I think it's just Lima can dictate where it goes, and I think that favours him a lot. Anyway, let's move on. Next up, Abdul Yahman Rahman. I still don't know what this guy's name is. Versus Rafael Sequeira. Yeah, he's going to kill Sequeira in like a minute. We've seen Sequeira get dusted in a minute by two guys. One of them was Ibo Aslan. I can kind of defend a Bukowskis KO. I cannot defend you getting slimed out cold by Ibo Aslan in Big 2024 on last year's October pay-per-view. So yeah, Abdul Yahman Rahman, whatever this kid's name is, Turkish dude. He's the real Ibo Aslan. He's going to kill Sequeira. Anyway, let's move on. Ryan Loder probably will beat Nurdiev. He'll take him down. Nurdiev's got shit takedown defense. But let's look at this card order. This is what... And also, side note, I've been taking breaks in between the recordings. I check my IG. I'm messaging the Huz, you know. And I scroll up and I see it just announced Luke Riley is making his UFC debut. Cage Warriors, I believe, featherweight champion, like 9-0 or some shit. On this card, he's fighting Bogdan Grad. So now we got two beardless, hairless Bogdans. I'm calling the fucking Doctor Strange, like whatever that woman's name is. What's the woman's name from Doctor Strange? I'm calling the fucking Professor X parlay, bro. Hey, that's banging, you know. Who's the woman from Doctor Strange? Bald woman from Doctor Strange. What's her name? We call this that's the actress, is it? We call this the Ancient One parlay. The two bald Bogdans, you know, the Bogdan parlay. But this is the card that we're looking at. Like, this is a dope card. Also, preview, there's some other heavyweight fight. They're both making their debuts. UFC's just signing a bunch of heavyweights and just being like, fight each other. Who fucking cares? They're literally just taking, like, at this point, it wouldn't surprise me if they just get like an LFA matchup that's happening on like next week's card and just put it in the Apex like a week later. Like, they just be taking two two unsigned heavyweights and then just moving them just like into the UFC. I swear. Like, they had a Contender Series fight, Pericic Ellison, that took place last weekend. That was supposed to be on Contender Series, and they just said like, nah, bro, let's just cancel that shit. But what am I even looking at? It's a card order, yeah. 6-fight main card, you'd imagine. Arman, Dan Hooker, Belal, Garry, both of those can be main events themselves. Spivak, Gaziev, that's a like solid fight. Blachowicz, Guskov is in a lot of worlds a main event of like a lot of cards, weaker cards. That's 4. Hermansson Orolbai, that's 5. Perez Asu Elmabayev, that's 6. And then, assuming it's happening, Tagira Lembekov, Kyoji Horiguchi, prelims. Felipe Lima, Daniel Marcos, Luke Riley, Bogdan Grad, Beksat vs Taporia, Nerdiev Loda, Ruckman Abdul fucking whatever the kid's name is versus Sequeria. And then this Marek Bulgio versus Denzel Freeman. Sounds like the name of like a fucking civil rights activist, bro. You're telling me Denzel Freeman didn't like protest like slave legislation in the 1960s? Like, definitely fucking Denzel Freeman was definitely vibing with MLK and Malcolm X for sure. But anyway, sick ass card, dude. Like, no complaints about this card. And I haven't even added any like fill up slop shit. Like, the worst fight on the card is Nerdiev Loda, and that's not even like that bad. Everything looked like, if we're going, look, the only one thing you could complain about maybe is like potential for lack of finishes on some of these fights. Like, is Nerdiev, I'm not confident Nerdiev Loda's a finish, or what's going to be a good fight. Like, the main event I think will be good. I'm very confident the co-main's going to be mid, which is why they probably didn't make it the main event, even though it's like arguably the more high-profile matchup. Kind of, it's similar. Spivak Gaziev has a real good chance of just being blobby as fuck. Blachowicz Guskov should be solid. Hermansson Orolbai, I'd say should be solid. Perez Asu has a real chance of being rubbish. Yakayev should kill Sequeira, that'll be fun. Lima Marcos, you'd imagine it'd be fun. So yeah, I kind of take that back. And then Kyoji Tagir should be solid enough. Like, I think a lot of these fights will end up either, a lot of them might go decision, but they'll all be like kind of fun decisions, you know. They'll be solid. I think we'll have a good night of fights here. Maybe one fight more to come, we'll see. But anyway, let me know your predictions in the comments. And also, yeah, breaking news mid-video. You guys will have seen it now because the video will come out in a couple of hours because I pre-record this shit because, you know, posting at 5 a.m. I ain't staying up till 5 a.m. But I didn't want to be first to the news and, like, rush out some video on just the main and co-main because no one's talked about the whole card. Lucas, like, previewed a couple fights. I don't think he realized how much of this... Like, this is, like, full card. Like, people are being like, oh, we got the main and co-main. We'll see what else they come up with. The whole card's done. You casuals got to fucking pay attention. Anyway, Guru in his video said some bullshit about, like, there were rumors of Chris Duncan versus Dan Hooker. I want to know where your fucking rumors came from, bro. Who are your sources, bro? You do not have sources. I have 15k subs and I have more reliable sources than this fucking bearded cunt. Than this bearded dude who's pulling out Dan Hooker versus Kyle's his name, my bad. Dan Hooker versus fucking Chris Duncan. Where's he pulled that from? What depths of his fucking anal crevice has he pulled that from? Anyway, yeah, goodbye. See you later.